There is a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when your life begins to change. Not when circumstances shift, not when money appears, not when opportunity knocks, but in a far less dramatic place, inside your own mind. Because long before the world rearranges itself around you, something deeper must rearrange within you. You don't see it at first. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't announce itself, but it's there, shaping every decision you make, every action you take, every boundary you accept, every dream you allow yourself to believe in. Your mind is not just a tool, it is the architect of your entire reality. And right now, whether you realize it or not, it is building something. The question is, what? Most people drift through life thinking the world is happening to them. They wake up, react, adapt, survive. They blame the economy, their past, their circumstances, their luck. They wait for something outside of them to change before they give themselves permission to rise. But history has never been shaped by those who waited. It was shaped by those who decided. A man like Thomas Edison did not wait for the world to hand him light. He created it, not just in a laboratory, but first in his imagination. Andrew Carnegie did not inherit steel empires. He built them from vision and relentless belief. Walt Disney was once told he lacked imagination. Imagine that. And yet he saw a world no one else could see and then refused to stop until it became real. These were not accidents of fate. These were outcomes of thought. Because every transformation you admire began as an invisible decision in someone's mind. This will not be my limit. And that same power sits inside you. But here's the truth most people avoid. Your mind does not automatically serve you. It reflects what you feed it. It obeys what you repeat. It becomes what you believe. If you feed it doubt, it will manufacture hesitation. If you feed it fear, it will construct barriers. If you feed it limitation, it will design a smaller life. And then it will convince you that this life is all that's possible. That's the trap. Because the mind is persuasive, it will argue for your limitations as if they are facts. It will replay your past as proof. It will whisper that you're not ready, not capable, not enough. And if you listen long enough, you will start to agree. But there comes a point, a breaking point, when something inside you begins to question that voice. A moment when you realize that the same mind telling you you can't is the same mind capable of saying you will. That is where everything begins. Not outside, inside. Because the moment you challenge your own thinking, you interrupt the pattern that has been running your life. You stop reacting and you start choosing. You stop accepting and you start creating. And suddenly the world feels different, not because it changed, but because you did. Your beliefs are not harmless opinions. They are instructions. They tell your mind what to look for, what to ignore, what to pursue, and what to avoid. If you believe opportunities are rare, you will overlook them. If you believe success is for others, you will step aside. If you believe failure defines you, you will stop trying. But if you decide, truly decide, that your potential is not fixed, that your future is not predetermined, that your current reality is not your final destination, then something powerful happens. Your mind begins to search for ways forward instead of reasons to stop. This is not wishful thinking, this is direction, because clarity follows decision. When Henry Ford set out to build an automobile for the masses, people told him it was impossible. They said horses were the future. They said the idea was impractical. But Ford wasn't negotiating with their beliefs. He was operating from his own. And that is the difference. The world will always project its doubts onto you. It will measure you based on what has already been done, not what could be done. But your mind has the ability to step beyond that, to see what doesn't exist yet, to believe what hasn't been proven yet, to act before the evidence appears. That is vision. And vision is not reserved for the extraordinary. It is developed by those who refuse to accept the ordinary. But vision alone is not enough, because the moment you begin to think differently, resistance will appear. Not from the world, but from within you. Old habits will pull you back. Old fears will resurface. Old identities will whisper, "This isn't who you are." And in that moment, you will face a choice. Return to what is familiar or rise into what is possible. Most people retreat, not because they lack potential, but because they lack persistence in their thinking. They touch a new mindset, but don't hold on to it long enough for it to reshape their actions. And so they fall back into patterns that feel safe, even if those patterns are keeping them stuck. But the ones who change their world do something different. They stay. They hold the new thought. They repeat it. They reinforce it. They act on it even when it feels unnatural. And slowly the mind begins to accept it as truth. Because the mind learns through repetition and experience. It doesn't care what is real in the beginning. It cares what is consistent. So if you consistently think bigger, act bolder, and refuse to shrink back into your old limits, your mind will adapt. And once your mind adapts, your world follows.